What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Thursday's stream. Just 2 days out now from Gameweek 31. The blank game week we've been talking about for about 31 game weeks. I hope you're all well. We have 5 polls this evening, all based around this week. Of course, the blank and the captains and stuff like that. So we've got best captain out of Mane and Salah. So even if you don't own them both, you can still answer that. Who do you think is the better option this week? How many players will you have this week? Who's your captain? How many hits are you taking? And is going with 11 players this game week essential? Because a lot of people worrying about that. Lots of people in the chat saying they're glad I'm fine, they hope I'm fine. Just to kind of confirm here, I was never actually ill or anything. I just went and got something with my chest checked out. And GP just found I had a slow heartbeat, and so she panicked. Well, she didn't panic, but she said, I'll refer you to hospital. Hospital did loads of tests, and it just turns out I just happen to have a low heartbeat, but everything's working fine. So I'm all good. And actually, the gym has probably helped there. Fitness-wise, whatever. The fitter you are, generally, the lower your heartbeat is when you rest. And obviously, I'm not an athlete by any means, but I'm doing a lot of fitness stuff. So I was never ill. I'm still not ill. I'm fine. I was trying not to cause drama or anything, so hopefully that's all cleared up. But thanks for the messages. Really appreciate it. Obviously, 7 hours in hospital sucks, but I'm glad to come out of it without any issues. So, FPL. It's game week 31. The big decisions seem to be Salah or Mane captain. I don't see... In fact, I can't even recall someone not captain over those two. It's certainly not a non-Liverpool player. Some people have got Salah that I've seen and not Mane, so they're considering captain a Liverpool defender, which just seems crazy to me. I get that they can get high scores and they've been consistent with clean sheets, but surely against Fulham, even Salah, who's not in the greatest form points wise, you're still captain him, right? Hazard potentially an option against an Everton team that just shipped 3 to Newcastle, maybe. But everyone's going to go for a Liverpool defender, and I thought Luke made an interesting point on the Scoutcast this week. Now, it wasn't his original point; it was one of the Meet the Managers. I can't remember which Meet the Manager it was, so I do apologise. But he said, sometimes you play not to lose instead of trying to gain points, which I thought was really interesting and extremely poignant for this week, because even those that are going for Mane, I'm sure most people, especially if they own Mane and Salah, you cannot get that thought out of your mind of what if Salah does what we've seen him do plenty of times before. And he will be the most captain player this week. I would put money on that. He's obviously highly owned. Liverpool do look like the best options this week. So Salah will be the most captain. So if he does really well and you've not captained him, it could be a proper sting. So yeah, it'd be an interesting one. And that did strike a kind of chord with me about just trying not to lose this week. I think given that the player pool is quite small who we're choosing from, there's probably not too many points to be made up this week. So maybe it's better to captain Salah, and I know this is going to be seen as really boring and safe, etc. But captain Salah, not lose too much rank, and then move on. But I'm currently captaining Mane, and I know a lot of stuff's been going around about stats and how his away form hasn't been as good as Salah's, and it hasn't, to be fair. But even if you look 4 game weeks ago, or over the last 4 game weeks, the earliest one of those away games out of those 4 was at the back end of January, and it's been a long time since then. And Mane's been doing pretty well versus Salah. Obviously, yeah, that is home games, but this is Fulham. I feel like all away and home stats go out the window. The only thing I will say, and I kind of repeated this quite a bit at this point, and I'm probably putting a little bit too much emphasis on one game against Leicester, but Vardy got in so many times behind that defence, and Salah is the one that's usually further forward. I think if they break, he's probably going to be the one that gets the chances. But Mane, again, 2 goals against Bayern. It's really tough. I feel like you can't really lose either way. Like, if I captain Salah and Mane goes nuts, you know, I don't think it could be put down as an awful decision. Just the same as vice versa. Even though it will hurt if you captain the wrong one. So we'll see. I think, realistically, I can't really decide between them. Maybe that Salah's got penalties. I mean, someone tweeted me today, they think, you know, maybe they get a penalty or two, but I mean, maybe they get a penalty or two any game. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Mane has scored Liverpool's last 2 Premier League away goals, plus the Champions League double. Oof, nice stat there. I mean, when you look at underlying stats, it's pretty close in recent game weeks. And even if I look at the last 4 away games, the last 2 were Everton away, Derby. I mean, I'm not sure how much to make of that game. It was a bit of a weird one, and those games never necessarily go to plan for either side. And then the one before that was Man United, which I would just write off because I wouldn't ever captain either of them in that game. And the home game, I think it was Mane that got the points anyway. So, yeah, it's I don't have a good reason either way, to be honest. Which I know sucks. I'm currently captain Mane. If I'm completely honest, I will probably switch to Salah. I've kind of already told myself that, so it's likely to happen, but we'll see. Maybe I'll go through with it. You figured out why I didn't see the little I button to vote because you had annotations turned off. Yeah, people have said that before. You have to have annotations turned on YouTube to be able to see the polls. Mane is looking like he's in a better position to finish. So, if you go and look at like the last 4 game weeks on Fantasy Football Scout, basically Mane is shooting closer to goal. So even though they're taking a similar amount of shots in the box, Mane is shooting closer to goal, which is generally better for goals. Mane gets a purple patch. He could easily be cold after a midweek trip to Germany. But they've all had that trip to Germany. And again, it is Fulham. Old club fully rested. Barkley in for punching. Oh no. Nah, we're getting too clever now talking about Barkley. I'm going safe, boring, standard this week, whatever you want to call it. Aguero to a striker. I'm actually still not fully chosen my striker. I'm actually leaning towards Wilson now instead of Vardy. 2 home games. But I don't know. I still think Vardy's a good option. And then punch into Fraser probably. But I was thinking earlier, maybe I get Wilson up front and maybe I get Maddison instead of Fraser and just go with Barnes and Maddison in midfield. Maybe. Is this the best opportunity to use triple captain if not in the 2 double game weeks? Let me have a quick look at the fixtures. So if we discount 32 and 35, so 33, Liverpool got Southampton away. Man City got... Oh no, that's going to be a blank for them, isn't it? Yeah, that's no good. 34 is going to be wildcard week for a lot of people. Spurs versus Huddersfield. I think on current form, we're probably not going to captain a Spurs player. Arsenal versus Watford away, I wouldn't like to do that. Man City, Crystal Palace away. Could be an option, but we know that Crystal Palace, when they want to, can defend. Then 36, Liverpool versus Huddersfield could be another good option. And that's at home as well, so I kind of like that. But yeah, you're getting slim pickings on the next best time to use it, really. Liverpool versus Wolves on the last day, I wouldn't like to use it there. And you're probably going to want to use it on a Man City or a Liverpool player. So Man City versus Burnley in 36, but again, it's away. So this could be the best time to use triple captain if you're going to have to use it in a single game week. I mean, it's Fulham. They're going to concede goals. If Fulham get a clean sheet, I don't know what I'll do, but I would be very, very surprised. Gorav, thanks very much for that. Good to see you around as always. Currently have 11 playing 31 with 1 free transfer. If you use the free transfer, you've still got it. Boric, Diop, Van Dijk, Balbuena, Salah, Mane, Hazard, Brooks, McNeil, nice, interesting differential. I'm better off doing McNeil to Fraser or Bednarak to a 6 million defender. Assume Balbuena is fit. Do you need to get rid of McNeil? I don't know. I think I prefer the defender move. Depends whether you think McNeil's going to start. Fantasy Football Scout actually have him down as one of their differentials this week. If that interests you. I mean, McNeil's definitely going to be a differential. But I kind of think I prefer Bednarak to a 6 million defender, probably Louise or Rudiger, and then bench one of the West Ham boys. We don't know if Balbuena's going to come in, right? I don't think he's played yet since he's been back. Fraser over Maddison all day. We'll see. The Leicester fixtures do put me off him a bit. Yeah, the triple captain, I mean, maybe I'm the wrong person to ask because I always make a balls up of it. But it's this thing that just plays on your mind. And sometimes you just feel better when it's used. But yeah, if you're looking at single game weeks, it's just one of those things where I used it earlier on a double game week. Obviously, completely messed it up on Salah, but it could have been Aguero and that would have been amazing. Sometimes I prefer just going with the info you have than the info you might not have. Or obviously, sorry, that makes no sense. The info you have now is that Liverpool have got Fulham. They're fighting for the league. That is a great game for goals. Potentially, there's some okay fixtures coming up, but you don't know who's going to be injured, what form's going to be like you said, what Europe's going to be like. So yeah, this week is probably as good as any. Like last game week of the season, Liverpool versus Wolves, Spurs versus Everton, Man United versus Cardiff, maybe. But then who are you going to want to triple captain from Man United in game week 38? I mean, potentially top 4 could still be on the line. But then that's a tough one because, you know, will they keep going for goals at like 2-0 up or something? Will Cardiff be fighting for their lives at that point? I'm struggling to find a bet. Like Liverpool versus Huddersfield seems to be the next best one. Obviously, Man City are good enough to kind of destroy anyone. But if you're going to wildcard in 34, then you can't use it then either. Do I think the triple captainship's overrated? Probably a little bit. I think people forget it is just one extra score at the end of the day. Now, obviously, if you did it on Aguero, you are laughing in that double game week. But the most points you're probably going to earn from it is 25, and 25 points is not to be sniffed at. But I think we probably do worry about it too much. Is Mane a good option for the Fulham game? Kyle, you must be trolling. Seriously. Seeing if Gaurav came back to me. No. Do you think City versus Cardiff will be moved to game week 32? I'll be honest, I'm not really sure where games are going to be moved to or in which week. Like we know it should be 32 or 35 for the most part, but which way round they'll be, I'm not sure. At this point, obviously it's a bad thing because I know not everyone's got a free hit, but I'm just not worried about it. I'll wait till the fixtures are fully confirmed, and then I'll play my free hit and go from there, basically. You just activated your triple captainship on Mo. I'm so jealous of people that get to do that. When this game week deadline hits, will you be clicking free hit ASAP? No, I'll probably wait until the fixtures are confirmed. Just to make sure something doesn't go wrong. The last thing we would need is only like one extra fixture gets rearranged there, and then it gets moved to like game week 36. Or I know not every game week is possible because of Europe and stuff. I'm just thinking out loud, really. Yeah, price rises, of course, but price rises shouldn't be affected by the free hit. So, you know, yeah, maybe some prices will change, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. We'll see. I think about it more when the game week gets here. If loads and loads of prices are changing, maybe I'll pop it, but I would much rather have that info. I'd much rather know that they 100% been rearranged. After their midweek games, do you think Mane and Salah will play 90 minutes against Fulham? If not, is it worth considering others for captaincy? But who else do you go for, though? Hazard, maybe. The thing is, I think Mane and Salah, will definitely play. I just don't see them getting a rest when the league is on such a kind of knife edge. Cliff edge? Knife edge? I've got that saying wrong, haven't I? On a knife edge? No, that's not right. Cliff edge. What's the saying? Anyway, basically the league is very tight. Sure, one of them or both of them could have minutes managed. If they're 3 or 4-0 up, 60 minutes in, sure, I'd say they'll get rested, and why not? But at that point, you'd hope that their involvement has got you some FPL points. On a knife edge, yeah, okay. Sometimes doing live streams is so rubbish. So if I was doing a video, I could just Google the saying, but now instead I have to look like an idiot on top of my cliff edge. Live's the best. Yeah, it's not really a cliffhanger, is it? But yeah, that is the one I'm thinking. My team is on a cliff edge. Can't be that bad. Yeah, I'm looking forward to making my transfers, but I'm going to wait. Might as well. Done it a lot of times. Alright. You've been airing me for the whole time. What does airing me mean? Is that what the kids say? Does that mean I've been ignoring you? Damn. Lacazette a good option for a new striker after double game week? Yeah, sure. I'll worry about that during the double game week, I think. Not going to worry about Lacazette this week. But yes, very impressed against Man United. Dream scenario if Cardiff gets moved to game week 32. Aguero triple captain against Fulham away and Cardiff at home. For sure, and that is worth saying. If you've not got your free hit and wildcard and stuff, then it is probably... there are other weeks you can use it in, but I think when Adam was talking, he was saying free hit 32, wildcard 34, which negates triple captains in those weeks. But yeah, Aguero, Fulham away and Cardiff at home could be decent, or Sterling. Prediction, who gets captain more by top 10? Gets Salah. Salah will be the most captain by far. I know a lot of people are talking about Mane captain within within the community on YouTube, Twitter and stuff, but I'd be very surprised if those numbers don't come in and they are massively in favour of Salah captain. Top 10k, top 100k, overall, whatever it might be. Surely Kane triple captain game week 38, Spurs have 2 games. So they don't have 2 games in game week 38. That's just how FPL... Basically, when that Crystal Palace fixture is rearranged, it will have a game week number next to it. That's not in game week 38 as it stands. It's just at the end. Top 10k won't be that big defence, in my opinion. Do you think defenders will be captain? They need to change the rules next year so you can use more than one chip in one game week. No, I don't think so. I think that just makes it even easier then, potentially. Because right now, I've basically used my triple captain because I knew this would come up where the double game weeks would have other chips in use. So that's like a strategy. But if I didn't have that, you would just triple captain, bench boost, and wildcard in the same week. Most of the time. Or free hit, triple captain, bench boost, whatever it might be. Jack, thanks very much. You've already got 12 players. Move Yedlin to someone else. Like, if you can use that transfer, sure. Like, if it'll improve your team. But if you've got 11 players in a blank game week and they're all pretty good players, then I'd be tempted to just hold. Have an extra transfer next week. Unless you're using your free hit next week. If you are, then that transfer becomes useless to save. And I think, if we look at Yedlin... Yeah, he played the last game, but not the 2 before that. So I don't know if anything's been said about him winning his place back. Maybe some Newcastle fans in the chat can tell me different. But it could be that he just misses the next game. It's hard to say. I mean, you'd imagine he would have won his place back, and he'll be the right back. I think he's the stronger of the 2 they got. But yeah, if you can get a better player in, why not? Especially if you're using your free hit next week. Is only having Salah out of the premium options enough? I mean, I suppose that depends who else you've got. You know, all the free hitters will have Salah, Mane, Hazard at this point, for sure. So it could be tricky if they all go nuts. But then, if you don't have them and you want to get them in, it depends how many transfers and stuff you're going to have to use. You're free hit 32. Yeah, then I'd probably move Yedlin to someone else. So I expect Bournemouth to score. Do I think FPL will change next season in terms of chips? Nah, not really. I don't expect major changes, to be honest. Will I hang on to my triple captain for later in the season next year? It depends how the game weeks work out. I won't. I don't want to make plans now for how I'm going to use my chips next year. We'll see how the season's going, who's in form, what fixtures are like, where the double game weeks fall, and all that kind of stuff. Higuain versus Azpilicueta. Yeah, I've gone off Higuain a bit, but you could go for a different striker instead. It doesn't have to be Azpilicueta. But I think Chelsea defence looks okay. Your captain is Salah out of fear. Look, at least you admit it. I'm thinking the same because of fear. Punching is in my team. And by the way, loads of people will be thinking that. Most people don't want to say it, but they will be. Why is Punching in my team? Because I've not transferred him out yet. I got him in a long time ago as part of the 3-4-3 strategy. As a cheap option that would have a blank game week. And then I stupidly didn't realise that Moy wasn't in the team and he had to come back from injury, I think it was. And then basically Punching hasn't really been in the team full time. Plus he's not very good. So I've had him wait until this week and I'm going to transfer him out once I've got the money from Aguero sale to fund it. Merely owning Mane is already a differential over anyone with Salah plus double Liverpool defence, which is a lot of competitive teams. Captain in Salah is therefore sensible. Yeah, probably gonna switch myself. I like that point. But then on the flip side, plenty of people will just say to you, Mane's in form. Like, I know it's not as simple as this, and it's not like Salah is playing really bad or not shooting or not getting into the box. But you do sometimes think if Mane was 13.5 million and Salah was 9.5, would we all be captaining Mane? It's a shame we can't have, another parallel dimension where the prices are different, just to see how everyone would do it. Gora, thanks very much again. 7k rank, very nice. 1 free transfer, still free hit, no point saving. If we hear Balbuena starts against Huddersfield, it's a one game West. Yeah, I mean, Huddersfield at home is about as good as it gets for a clean sheet. But just West Ham, I've had Fabianski for ages and I just don't know when to trust him. But you are right. If, Huddersfield, Cardiff, those are the kind of games you want at home. Other option is Aguero to Wilson and play 3-4-3, but that would mean Benjamin here. I personally prefer that option, I think. If you want to go for the double West Ham clean sheet, then Aguero to Wilson seems good to me. I think Wilson will do well this week. I'm sure you'd have to bench a double blank game week player, but if someone gets injured or whatever, you've got someone coming on then. Those super chat boxes are blinding, bright, hard to read. I mean, they're bright, so they stand out, I guess. They're pretty easy to read, at least on computer. You've chickened out of the triple captain. Wow, that's taking you like 10 minutes. You'll be back. You will be back. Paul Kit, thanks very much for that. If I captain Mane and he fails or Salah goes big, it's a disaster. If I captain Salah and he blanks or Mane goes big, it's not as bad. I know, and there's that thing about playing not to lose sometimes. And maybe you make a differential captain choice next week, because in game week 32, Salah's playing Spurs. For me, he's not going to be my captain 100%. So next week is a bit more interesting. And it feels a little bit safer to go different because the captains might be a little bit more spread out. Now, if City get a massive double game week, then they'll be captained heavily. But again, you've got Sterling or Aguero. Who'd you go for? But it depends what kind of FPL manager you are. If you're that manager that wants to go big and try and get the biggest rank gain, then betting on Mane to heavily outscore Salah and captain him could be huge. Business theory, box of chocolate test proved the psychology of the higher price is better. People will captain Salah more because of the price only. I do think that comes into it. In your opinion, how much more differently would the game be played if player ownership wasn't revealed by the site? I'd like that. I think that would make it much more... I think it could make the discussion much more interesting. What I will say is... and not everyone will like this, or like not what I'm about to say, but like the way the game is played. But knowing ownership does create strategy in itself. Now, maybe it's a negative strategy. People might see it as that, well, like this week, Salah's heavily owned, so I'll captain him because that won't hurt me as much as other players could do. And that is a strategy. You know, some other people, like Luke on the Scoutcast, will look at it as, well, he'll be the most captain. If I want a big rank gain, I'm going to bet against him. I captain Mane. So ownership does provide a different strategy. But of course, if they removed it, it would be a different strategy then. You wouldn't even be thinking about it. I think if player ownership wasn't revealed, a clever sod would create an app that would show it. Yeah, probably. There's always a way. What's the pros and cons for wildcard 32 and free hit 34 over free hit 32 and wildcard 34? I don't think there is one really. Because if you've built for game week 31, then you want that team in 33 as well. So if you wildcard in 32, not only do you have to think about the double game week, you've also got to think about the blank game week. Whereas if you free hit, you can get your complete double game week team and then back to your complete blank team. So if you've built a game week 31 team with 33 in mind, there's almost no advantage of wildcarding in 32. Plus, if you wildcard later, you have more information for the last few game weeks. Obviously, if you wildcard in 32, you've got 6 or so game week... 32, I should know that. 6, like 32, 38. You've got 6 game weeks to get through with your wildcard, whereas if you wildcard in 34, you've still managed 32 and 33. We've only got 4 left. If that'll make sense. Mane has 4 goals in the last 2 and it looks to be on fire. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about Mane and Salah a lot. I don't know if there's a huge amount more to say, even though I'll probably have to keep talking about them. Chris Wood differential. I like the thinking. There are some outside of the box players. Thoughts on taking a hit for a cheap defender this week to get a full 11? Now, unless we're talking like 16 points plus, I'm all for hits. I think the fact, like in previous seasons, we've taken hits in a blank game week, but it's really only been for that game week because they haven't. It's just fallen very nicely this year. Where if you're, and this is if you're using a free hit in 32, which I appreciate not everyone is, but if you are, then a hit for this week is also a hit for 33. So it's a -4. You get your points back on appearance points, hopefully. Obviously, if it's a really cheap defender for a bad team that might concede loads of goals, i.e. I wouldn't take a hit to bring in Schindler, because then you might end up on negative. But yeah, I'm kind of all for hits. Like if I had 10 and I could do a defender transfer for -4, I probably would do it. It's all about Ashley Barnes this week. Rondon owners will be squealing. No, I'm alright with Rondon against Bournemouth. I know people saying they're doing defensively okay at home, but I've got faith in old Rondon. You love this channel. What a legend. You've got Wilson. Should you double up with Fraser? I mean, I would, because of the blank game week, because there's not that high of a player pool. You know, you're probably going to have to double up in places. I wouldn't. I would try not to think about Wilson. Just think, is Fraser a better option than the other options I could get? And if you prefer him over the likes of Maddison and Barnes and stuff like that, or players like that, then sure, go for him. When am I triple captain? And I've already used it on Sané when he got 1 point. You like Bournemouth as a defensive call, but not sure if you like any of them enough. Yeah, I mean, I sometimes I just go back to the simple. I don't see Bournemouth as a team that are going to keep clean sheets, and maybe I've got it wrong. Maybe they've kept loads this season. It is 2 home games, but I'm just going to back on them to concede in both. Why not? Chris, you voted in the the Football Blogging Awards. Thanks very much. A few people have tweeted me about that. Thanks for anyone that voted. I mean, to try and win it, I'd probably have to. Well, I would have to do a campaign and ask people to go and vote. I'm just not going to do that. But I do appreciate it, definitely. But I just don't have the time or the energy. Well, I have the time, but I'm not going to go and ask people for votes and spam Twitter about it. You can basically go on the website and vote, or you can tweet. There's a certain line you have to tweet. I can't remember what it is, to be honest. Not that I don't appreciate it, I really do. I don't know, like, I feel there's people with bigger followings than me, YouTube, Twitter, they'll win. It's all good. And there's other people that do really good stuff as well, so. Like, if I had to vote, I'd find it really hard, because there's so many. It's such a small, broad category as well. Best fantasy football content. I mean, there's websites, forums, articles, YouTube, podcasts. It's tough. Thoughts on Wilson in for Jimenez for a hit? Yeah, so when I watched the Scoutcast, Joe really got me thinking about value, and I know that value is not the be-all and end-all towards the end of the season, but I actually think people are writing off a bit too quick. And if you look at the teams that could have a double game week in 32, that is some big hitting teams, which you're going to want lots of players from. And I've already tried to put a team together, and obviously it's a mock one because I don't know who I'm going to want, who's going to have double game weeks for sure and stuff. But money is tight, and I've already sold Pogba, so I'm not going to sell Jimenez or Doherty. It's just too much money to get back, even if I don't necessarily want Doherty in 32. So I would think about how much money you got tied up in Jimenez, and if you've already lost value elsewhere. You're probably going to want him in game week 32, double game week, I think. So he's going to be straight back. So if it's a hit for him, and you're going to lose like I'm going to lose 0.7 on him. I got him quite early. I know not everyone did, but yeah, I think it depends. I definitely think long and hard about it, that's for sure. You have to use the free hit for Game Week 30 when you have all chips and wildcard. I think for people doing that, I think probably wildcard in like Game Week 33 would be good. Then maybe bench boost 35 and triple captain would have to be 32, I suppose. If your team is looking good for Game Week 32. Worth taking a -8 to get rid. I would just look at it on a case by case basis. You've already taken a -4, so taking punching out is just a -4. Will the player you bring in score more than 4 points? Or will outscore punching by more than 4 points over 2 game weeks? I'd say there's a lot of midfielders that will. I don't think selling Jimenez is like an absolute no by any stretch. I don't necessarily agree with he's a definite sell, which I've seen people say. Because I do think he'd probably be wanted in 32 and 34. I mean, he's done nothing really to warrant us dropping him, other than the fact, obviously, there's blank game weeks to come. So, yes, it's all well and good saying you're getting rid of him for Wilson. Will Wilson get you points over 31 and 33? He probably will. And that points are better than money, of course. But then how much can that 0.5, 0.7 get you in a double game week to get even more points? And money's not that... Like, I know everyone's teams are different, but for me, I can keep Jimenez and play 3-5-2. And basically, I'm playing Barnes or Fraser ahead of selling Jimenez to Wilson. So, you know, will Wilson massively outscore those two? Maybe, but I'll take the risk if it means I get to keep Jimenez. How's the new background and layout for the streams come along? I'm not actually sure. I need to get in touch with the guy that's doing it for me. Yeah, hopefully it will happen. It's going to be for next season now, though. I won't implement anything new this season. I don't think. We'll keep things as they are. Things are ticking along nicely. Will Arnautovic start? Yeah, it sounds like he will. We don't know for sure, obviously, but I think I think Pellegrini said something. Let me have a look what he said. Let me get the exact quote for you so I don't butcher it. It's going to take me ages to find now. Okay. So Marco, obviously, Arnautovic was out of the team for several reasons. First, because his mind was out. Basically, because of the way he was thinking around China when he almost moved there. After that, he returned and he didn't work, so he didn't train for about a week. And then he was sick. And then he ends saying he's ready to return to his position. So there was 3 reasons he didn't play. Now it says he's ready to return to his position. So, look, whether that's 100% a start, I don't know. There's a guy called ex-West Ham employee, which is pretty good for news. And people will ask him if Arnautovic is going to start, I would imagine, over the next couple of days, like up until deadline. And I expect him to answer at some point. And he's pretty good for team news. So, especially if you're on a free hit, I would keep an eye on him. If you're not on a free hit, I don't know if he's worth the risk. If you get a definite start against Huddersfield at home, could be a really nice option. VCAS, I think. Thanks very much for that. But there, on the other hand, he's obviously been out for a little while. He's had minutes in most games recently. But he's not started a game from the beginning for a little while. Ex-West Ham already responded. He said he's very likely to start. Okay, well, there you go. Good point, yeah. Arnie doesn't need to be consistent. This is Huddersfield. And I have looked at Aguero to Arnautovic, but I think I'm going to go Aguero to Wilson or Vardy. If ex-West Ham geezer says Anderson isn't playing, you're taking a hit to get rid. Yeah, I don't blame you. It's been very frustrating. Now, I don't know what he's said or what the deal is, so I can't help you with like definites for West Ham team news. Hoping Palace beat Watford in the cup. Oh, Deeney, nice for Fulham at home. I like that shout. Basically, my plan for game week 33 is if Rondon's not playing, I'll switch him to a different striker. If Rondon is playing, I'll probably just keep him and switch Fabianski, who's got Chelsea, to a different goalkeeper. Which would currently be Boric, maybe? Yeah, Boric against Burnley, maybe. Maybe Foster, actually, against Fulham. So, we'll see. Although, hang on, let me think about this. If Palace win, that means Watford play, which means Rondon won't play, so I definitely won't get him. I don't know, we'll figure it out in game week 33. Nice shout, though, I think, with Deeney, if he's going to start. You're probably going to avoid Vardy. Burnley's defence, while not perfect, doesn't lend itself well to a big haul. Apart from this week, but that was Liverpool. And also, Vardy doesn't necessarily haul that often either. Obviously did against Fulham. And he's in a good run of form. He's on penalties as well. Double game weeks will be 32 and 35 apparently, not 34. But we'll see. Yeah, that's a good point actually about Arnautovic. If you're not on the free hit, yes, he has Huddersfield at home this week, but then it's Chelsea away in the game week 33. So it might not be the best use of your transfer. But if you're free hitting, there's a one-off. Bearing in mind you can also put players on your bench. But although Arnautovic, even if he gets bench, will come on. But it might be a better option on a free hit. Excuse me. I've been streaming for 45 minutes. If you haven't already, vote on the polls at the top right hand of the screen. And hit that like button if you're enjoying the stream. Be much appreciated. Which team is going to have 2 games next week? We don't know for sure just yet. VCAS, thanks very much again. Liverpool double mid or double attack? Do you mean double attack versus double defence? Or do you mean Mane versus Firmino, basically? I definitely prefer double midfielder versus midfielder and striker. I know Firmino's done alright recently. But I just think there could be points all around. The midfielders get the extra points for the goals, clean sheets and stuff. I think Salah and Mane would be my preferred choice. I actually prefer Mane and Firmino to... Mane and Salah to double defence as well. I just think the 4 Mane's in, it's the way to go now. How am I feeling about the Huddersfield assets? Well, punching is definitely going. I'm even considering a -4 to get Schindler out, but the fact he plays twice probably won't. Why don't you answer actual FPL questions? You'd rather talk about your background than how long you've been streaming. Alright. See you later. I mean, that's 2 questions in 45 minutes. Obviously not been around very much because we've dedicated 10 or 15 minutes to pizza and Club Biscuits chat before. Man, you would have hated those streams. Yeah, double defense. Okay, so it is double defense versus double attack. I think double attack for me. I don't necessarily think that double defense is bad all of a sudden, but Mane is just looking so good. And a lot of people are kind of... They're not trapped, but they're locked into double defense. Some people are looking at taking hits to get rid of one of their defenders, to bring Mane in. I do not think that is probably worth it. I still think Salah captain. I mean, yes. I was about to say I think Salah's captain's fine. Of course it's fine. It's Fulham. Seriously. Mane being rested is starting to ramp up on Twitter. That has come from absolutely nowhere. That is people speculating. I just... Why? Why? Because they played midweek. They've done that before. If someone has a genuine... If Klopp says something, then maybe. But right now, that is just people speculating because... why not? It's definitely purple, by the way, but I'm not going to get into it tonight. How's it going, Scott? Exactly, won't rest because of the title race. I agree. I mean, they might need a rest at some point, of course. But surely for now, it's better to keep the pressure up on Liverpool. Keep the pressure up on Man City and try and manage minutes. You know, if they can get 3 or 4 up against Fulham, then take Salah and Mane off and go from there. I mean, I do agree that obviously the title race is on. He's not going to want to rest, but he might have to at some point, even if the title race is still wide open, still so close. But I just don't necessarily think it's going to be this week. Any news on why Shaqiri's not getting a look? Yeah, I mean, he's a bit more attacking. I mean, basically, Shaqiri's not going to get in ahead of Firmino, Mane and Salah, right? So he has to play in the 3 behind. And he's not really that type of midfielder for how Liverpool play. They don't play with like 3 defensive mids, of course, but they're not necessarily as creative as an attacking as Shaqiri is. Now, in some games, they might need him, and maybe he'd play against someone like Fulham. But he just doesn't seem to regularly be getting in ahead of Salah and Mane. Obviously, even when they get rested, he's not necessarily first choice there. So I don't know. Maybe something else happened in training or whatever, and Klopp's just not trusting him. But he's just not that type of midfielder that Liverpool usually play in that 3 behind. Have you been to Killarney? I have. The 2 times I've been really ill in Ireland, both from trips to Killarney. Not cool. Shaqiri to start and Mane to get a rest. Look, hopefully it doesn't happen. That would be a nightmare now. What's up, Jeff? Good to see you. Salah on bench and comes on for the last 5 minutes and picks up a yellow card. Can you imagine? I would love... If that happens, I'll log straight onto Twitter. Salah is battling for the main scorer. Yeah, but... I don't know. I mean, we have this conversation every year. And I'm sure footballers do know... They do know kind of how many goals they're on, how far they're behind, etc., how many games are left, whatever. But surely at the end, the league title is much, much more important. Just gone 6 a.m. Damn, that is dedication. Thanks for tuning in, Ricky. If I had my triple captain, would I use it this game week? Probably. I think I probably would. Even if it is just an Astra Champions League game. Liverpool have scored 44 home goals and 24 away, compared to 9 home clean sheets and 8 clean sheets away. It's close between double attack versus double defence. I think the clincher is that Fulham do score at home and leak goals. Yeah, I mean, Fulham's defence is awful. But yeah, they can score goals. For sure. I do think it's really close though. Like, if I had double defence, I wouldn't be worrying too much. Personally. Yeah, if you've got an Arnautovic already, you probably just keep him at this point. Unless Pellegrini says he's not going to start. Give me a goalkeeper besides Alisson Becker for the best clean sheet chance. This week, I mean, I'd probably just bet on Fabianski, to be honest. Fabianski or Boric. I think Everton can score against Chelsea, even though I've got David Luiz. Not going to be Huddersfield. I wouldn't want to bet on Heaton or Schmeichel against Vardy and Barnes. So yeah, I think Bournemouth will score. So it's got to be Fabianski, I think, for me. Given it's Huddersfield. Are we certain there won't be a third double game? I mean, there could be. I mean, there's no certainty until the fixtures are done, right? Top 5 picks for free hit players. Salah, Mane, Hazard. Salah, Mane, Hazard. Liverpool defender. Wilson? Go Wilson. Fabianski for game week 33 would depend on whether Rondon's playing. Basically said this earlier. If Rondon's playing, I'll probably switch Fabianski to someone else. If Rondon's not playing, I'll probably switch him to a striker and keep Fabianski. Or maybe take a hit. We'll see. How long till we do the polls? It is... We'll do them about 5 minutes. So vote on them if you haven't already. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Always appreciated. I went King over Wilson last week. Didn't even know he was fit again. I said, didn't I? I did say he could be back soon. Although I thought he was back sooner than he actually was. I got that wrong. But like King isn't suddenly an awful option. I think if you've got him, again, don't panic. Big Virgil van Dijk going to be critical for the cleanie. Only guy who can stop Mitrovic. Well, he can stop anyone, that guy. These are going to be 5 awful matches. Can't wait for the double game with 32. I know. It could be so anticlimactic, couldn't it? It really, really could. And they're quite spread out. Well, they're all at 3 o'clock on Saturday, and then we have to wait till the next day. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. What's up, Luke? Good to see you. Hope the gym's going good. United to finish top 4. It's going to be tight now. Arsenal in a bit of form. We'll see. I think they've got a good chance. I do think maybe we've been a little bit lucky under Solskjaer, but obviously still playing much better than we were before. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Looks like Brooks is all good now. Picks from training ground. Yeah, I mean, it was just fatigue, so you'd think he'd be back this week. I just worry that maybe, what if he gets fatigued again? Maybe he's not quite up to match fitness right now to play like 70, 80 minutes. It's my only worry. Again, like I'm saying this a lot, I know. If I had Brooks, unless Eddie Howe said he was not going to start, then I wouldn't be worried. But to actually bring him in, I'd probably just go for Fraser now. Game week 32 is what we waited 30 game weeks for. So true. So true. I mean, if you're looking at 31 and 33, I think you have to bet on Bournemouth defence over West Ham because of that Chelsea game. We depended on a bloodbath at Fulham. The reverse fixture was 2-0, and that was at home as well. Yeah, but again, you expect Fulham to ship goals. Could be a big score, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because everyone's going to captain Mane or Salah anyway. Is Brooks to Fraser worth a -4? Not for me, no. Tielemans question mark. I mean, I like him. I prefer Barnes and Maddison personally. But yeah, saw him against Fulham. He looked pretty good. He's definitely going to be the one from that kind of midfield too that's going to get more further forward. In Game Week 33, would I play Wan-Bissaka? So, as my team currently stands, if Wan-Bissaka was fit, then yeah, I'd probably play him. Even though I've got Rondon, I'd probably play him ahead of Schindler. Because Schindler has Vardy to contend against. So, yeah, it was a consideration actually for keeping Wan-Bissaka. Gives me another option potentially in 33. Obviously, it depends how the FA Cup goes. Deadline on Saturday will be interesting. Yeah, I might try and stream. I got a feeling I'm going to be out though, to be honest. So I probably won't be able to. But if I'm in, I will stream because lots of people are making some last-minute free hit decisions, and the FA Cup match between Watford and Palace will be coming to a close. So if there's like a 2-goal lead in that game, then we'll know who's going to be blank in Game Week 33. Would not triple captain Liverpool because everyone will captain one. You will only get 1 times the profit. I don't agree with that. If you think that they're going to score big, then they're worth a triple captain. Because you can only get 1 times in other game weeks as well. Do you know what I mean? So, to give you an example, if Salah blanks, you triple captain, that sucks. Or, okay, let's say Salah gets 15 points. You triple captain him. That's 30 points for a captain, 45 for a triple captain. So you gain 15 points. If you then captain Aguero in a double game week and he gets 25, then sure, maybe people who triple captain and got an extra 10 points over you. But you're still going to get double his points anyway. So you're not losing out by that much. So if there's a standout captain in any game week, then people are going to captain them anyways. You're only going to get a 1 times better score. You can guarantee that Watford Palace will be 1-1 with 5 minutes before dinner. Yeah, it could be one of those games. I mean, they're both on their day quite good defensively. So it could be quite low scoring. Palace have lost exactly 1-0 to Spurs in their last 5 meetings in the league. Not a high scoring game then. Yeah, let's do the polls. Because it's been 6 minutes since I said it would be 5 minutes. But it wouldn't be a proper stream if I did the polls on time, would it? I mean, come on. Alright, the best captain out of Mane and Salah. I mean, this is going to be Salah. 59% or 60% to 40% Mane. Not too bad. So yeah, 60% Salah. If you're thinking of the two, I think most people are going to go for that. How many players will you have for Game Week 31? 63% of you will have 11 plus. Could be from a free hit. Could be just good planning. Could be a few hits. But most people planned well. 63% on 11 plus. 25% on 10. And then only a total of 9% on 7, 8 or 9 players. So mostly good planning going on here. Your Game Week 31 captain, Mane. Actually, this is interesting. So the best captain between Salah and Mane was Salah at 60%. But of course, because not everyone will own Mane. This is actually quite interesting. So your Game Week 31 captain, 69% is Salah, 28% Mane. So more people are going to captain Salah, which is what we said. But those who maybe don't have both, I think Mane is probably slightly better. So hopefully that makes sense. So the first question was who's the best out of those two, whether you own them or not. This one is who do you own, who you're going to captain. And Salah obviously comes out quite high on that. 1% for Hazard, and then 2 people with someone else, and 1 person on Liverpool defender. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense, Opus. I didn't click straight away, alright? My tiny little brain just did not Did not have it. I think it's a... Also, I do think there's probably a case of grass is greener. So those without Mane have put him down as the best captain option because they're worried about him because they don't own him. How many hits are you taking in Game Week 31? 47%, so nearly half of everyone that voted is taking a -4. Same for me. 26% are taking none or are using a free hit. 22% on a -8, which is quite high. Almost as many people using a -8 as there are taking no hits or a free hit. And then 2% of you on 12 plus. Is going with 11 players in Game Week 31 essential? A lot of people have asked that. 79% say no, 21% say yes. So don't panic too much if you don't have 11 double game week players. It's not that bad. Oh, your Captain Sterling. So jammy. Not jammy, but I'm so jealous. If Salah were on Mane's form, we wouldn't be even arguing this. Yeah, for sure. People looking to doing things based on ownership too much. They absolutely do, myself included sometimes. Although I try not to look at it too much. Did I see FPL General's poll on Mane/Salah captain? I did, yeah. It was like 50-50 after 11,000 odd votes. Which just goes you to show how close it really is. I actually saw that goal because I was in the gym yesterday when Liverpool were playing. I saw the Mane's goal, the one where he kind of... Well, yeah, he took it around Neuer, but Neuer was awful. But the calmness to straight away chip it over a player with his weak foot, so good. Yeah, look, Hazard could do well, but yeah, you're right. Hardly any consideration. I've barely considered him, to be honest. Against Everton, it's away. I don't know if I just fully trust Salah right now. I mean, I've got him in because of the blanks. If there was no blanks, I probably wouldn't own him right now. I don't think I trust him enough for that captaincy. Even though I'm hoping, obviously, he gets me some points. You have Higuain. Should you take a -4 to replace him? I would wait and see what Sarri says about him. I think press conference is tomorrow. So let's see if he's fit again. If he is, he'll probably play. If not, then yeah, I'd probably take a hit to replace. Personally. Although he probably would then play in Game Week 33. So it's not quite the same as other people that are taking a hit for a player that won't play both game weeks. But wait and see what Sarri says. Barnes to Wilson for -4. No, Barnes is a good option this week. Who's the player least likely to be mass owned that is most likely to do well? I don't know about not mass owned, but I mean, for those that aren't being considered for captaincy, I feel Wilson could do really well. Hazard on his day, of course. They're probably the top two. Maybe Vardy, but don't know. Don't know about him. The thing about the polls on here is that we're a tiny portion of the online community, which itself is a tiny portion of the overall total playing community. We are the hardcore and have planned more. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And maybe we would have expected the polls to go that way. But it's nice to know that everyone's kind of organised and planning. If you can't choose between Mane and Salah, look to see which side Fulham let more goals in from. Let's have a quickie look. I'm not actually sure how to check this out. Perez, nice shout. Obviously did really well in the last game. Defending. Should do the last 4 game weeks. Because when I watched, I thought Brian was okay at left back against Leicester, but again, Salah's a different kettle of fish. Chances conceded on the right flank. 17, left flank. 22. Now, is that their left? Or the attacker's left? I can never remember on Fantasy Football Scout. If it's their left, then that's good for Salah. Yeah, I mean, it's not a burn. It's true. Like, there's 6 million players or whatever. So a stream that sees like 15,000 views, maybe. I mean, that is quite a small portion of the overall community. Obviously, it's the best portion. Does it matter? Salah and Mane switch sides of the time. Do they switch that often? Not convinced by that. Mane does seem to be becoming quite a bit more central recently, though, although Firmino was out for a good few game weeks. Is 50 points catch up? Yeah, definitely. Just keep playing your game. 50 points over like 8 game weeks, easily done. Especially if you've got all chips and stuff left. Don't panic just yet. Son and Aguero out for Vardy and Hazard, -4. Yeah, I like it. Madison and Wilson will probably rise tonight. I'll just take it on the chin. You could gain 50 in a week or two. Do you know what I mean? Especially if your opponent hasn't got all their chips. 100 points off? No, I don't think it's too late. I mean, that is obviously tough, but I don't think it's too late at all. What overall rank will I be happy with? I want top 5k, but I'd be happy with top 10k. Anything outside of that, I'd be annoyed at this point. Do I have any interest in wages, my friends? Nah, don't actually. Very boring. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to promise a stream on Saturday because I'm not sure it will happen, but if it does, I will let you know. Thanks very much for tuning in, and good luck in Game Week 31. Hopefully it's a good one for us all. Next week, much more interesting because it's double Game Week 32, especially for those on a free hit. If you're not on a free hit, I'm sorry. We're going to talk about free hits so much. It'll make your ears bleed. If you haven't already, hit a like on the stream, thumbs up, much appreciated. Subscribe if you're new around here. Leave a comment below if you're not watching live. And just before we go, I'll show a quick shout out to the patrons. If you want to check this out, click the link in the description below. The producers: Dean P, Madcheck, Gaz H, Melissa B, Ryan T.O.B, Tim W, Matthew H, Hayden H, Christopher M, and Scott S. Thanks very much for the support. If you want to check out everything that involves